I'm just going to say it. The West has been programmed to be fearful and hateful towards Muslims based on the media, based on the news, based on things that have happened in the past that have been extrapolated into an entire population of people, and believing that they are dangerous and violent and that you should be scared of them. This is not true. It's not true, you guys. Okay? I'm not going to generalize and say everyone feels this way or everyone has this experience in the West or in America, but I know that there are probably a lot of people that do feel this way, that might go to the airport and see a Muslim person and feel fear, right? Or like being on a plane and feeling fear. I just saw a video about how a man had his prayer reminder on his phone, a Muslim man that went off on a plane, and he literally got arrested because people are so programmed to be fearful. And I can speak on this so passionately because I used to be exactly one of those people. For the majority of my life, I was the person clenching my bag just a little bit tighter when a woman in a hijab walked past me at the grocery store. I was the person silently panicking at the boarding gate at the airport if I saw a man with a beard holding prayer beads. I absorbed every single headline, every Hollywood movie villain, every whispered warning about Islam on the evening news, and I let it build an impenetrable fortress of anxiety around my heart. I truly thought I was protecting myself. I thought I was being cautious and smart. But in reality, looking back now, I was just suffocating in my own ignorance. Let me paint a picture of what my life looked like back then. On paper, I had everything you are supposed to have to be considered successful in the West. I had the corporate job, the steady paycheck, the busy social life, and the absolute illusion of freedom. Society tells you that if you have these things, you have made it. You should be happy. But I was incredibly empty inside. It was a hollow ache that wouldn't go away. I would come home to my apartment, lock the door, and just lie awake at night staring at the ceiling, feeling this heavy, crushing, terrifying loneliness. I was spiritually starved. I was wandering through a society that tells you to just buy more things, drink a little more, or chase the next temporary distraction to feel a sense of joy. But none of it worked. The silence of my apartment was deafening, and my soul was screaming for a purpose I couldn't even articulate. Then, my entire world shifted in the most unexpected, quiet way. I was going through a very dark period in my life, a season of depression that felt like a thick fog I couldn't navigate through. I felt entirely invisible to the world. My colleagues didn't notice. My friends were too busy with their own fast-paced lives. And the only people who noticed, the only people who actually stopped to check on me, were the very people I was taught my whole life to fear. A Muslim family had moved into my neighborhood a few months prior. At first, I kept my distance. The programming was so deep that I barely made eye contact when I saw them in the driveway. But you cannot ignore genuine, radiant kindness forever. It started small. They didn't preach to me. They didn't ask about my beliefs or judge my lifestyle. They just started bringing over plates of warm food. The mother, wearing the very hijab that used to make me nervous, would stand on my porch with a smile so incredibly warm it felt like sunlight. They would greet me with, "Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you." And for the first time in my chaotic, noisy life, I felt what true, unconditional peace actually looked like. I started observing them. From my window, I saw how the father treated his children with such gentle mercy, never raising his voice, always guiding them with patience. I saw how the mother carried herself with such profound dignity, respect, and an inner light that no amount of money could buy. I realized they had a rhythm to their lives that wasn't dictated by the hustle culture or the stock market. Their days were anchored by prayer. 5 times a day, they disconnected from the noise of the world and reconnected with their Creator. I remember sitting in my kitchen one evening, looking at a plate of homemade sweets they had brought me for Eid, and I just broke down. I started crying uncontrollably. I cried for my own prejudice. I cried for the years I spent carrying around unfounded hate. I cried because everything the media had told me was a complete, fabricated lie. These weren't dangerous people. These were the most beautiful, God conscious, compassionate human beings I had ever met. That cognitive dissonance completely broke me. I decided right then and there that I needed to know the truth. Not the truth according to the 24-hour news channel, but the actual source. I went online and ordered an English translation of the Quran. I remember the day it arrived in the mail. I felt this strange, intense mix of anxiety and overwhelming curiosity. I took the package into my room and locked the door. I actually hid it under my clothes in my drawer, almost ashamed of what my friends or my family would think if they found it. The stigma was still playing tricks on my mind. Later that night, when everything was completely silent, I took it out. The first time I opened it, my hands were visibly shaking. I honestly expected to find the harshness, the violence, and the rigidity the world had promised me was inside. Instead, I opened the pages, and the very first words my eyes fell upon were, "In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful." Mercy. That was the overriding theme, over and over again. As I turned the pages, week after week, in the quiet, lonely hours of the night, something miraculous happened. It felt less like I was reading a book, and more like the book was reading me. It answered questions about my soul, my purpose, and my deep internal pain that I hadn't even realized I was asking. It spoke directly to my intellect and my heart simultaneously. It didn't ask me to abandon logic. In fact, it invited me to think. It commanded me to observe the stars, the complex oceans, the mountains, the perfect rhythm of my own heartbeat, and to use my mind to recognize the creator of it all. I remember the exact moment my heart fully, unconditionally surrendered. I was alone in my room, reading a verse about how Allah is closer to us than our jugular vein, closer than my own heartbeat. The heavy, crushing weight of loneliness that I had carried for years, the weight that therapy and distractions couldn't fix, it just vanished. It evaporated into thin air. I fell to my knees, pressed my forehead to the floor in a clumsy, unpracticed prostration, and I just wept. But they weren't tears of sorrow anymore. They were tears of immense relief. For the first time in my entire life, I wasn't talking to the universe or crossing my fingers hoping some cosmic energy was listening. I knew exactly who I was speaking to. I was speaking to Allah. Taking my Shahada a few weeks later at the local mosque wasn't me losing my identity, which is what Western society tells you will happen. It was me finally waking up. I remember standing there, surrounded by brothers and sisters from every race, color, and background you can imagine. When I repeated the words, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, I bear witness that there is no deity but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. It felt like stepping under a waterfall. I was washing away a lifetime of media programming, fear, anxiety, and profound sadness. The community hugged me, and for the first time, I wasn't alone. I had found my family. I had finally found the path to light. So, when I scroll through social media and I see stories about a man getting arrested simply because a prayer app went off on an airplane, it absolutely shatters my heart. It shatters my heart because I know the profound peace that man was seeking in his prayer. I know the beauty, the mercy, and the depth of the faith he holds in his heart. If you are watching this video right now and you still have even a tiny fraction of that fear in your heart, if you still feel that hesitation when you see Muslims, I am begging you, look past the screen. Look past the fear-mongering news cycles. Go out and actually talk to a Muslim. Ask them about their faith. Open the Quran just once with a sincere and open mind. Ask the Creator to guide you to the truth. Do not let society, politics, or prejudice rob you of the most beautiful, life-changing truth you will ever discover.